Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media. Always a good day when we have our friends from the San Diego Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center in the house. You're becoming a veteran on the show over here, and that is Norman Mackenzie. He is the Community Engagement Coordinator. How you doing there, Norman?
I'm doing great, Drew. How are you doing today?
Good. What is this, your fifth, sixth, fourth? I don't know. How many times have you been on now?
I think that's about my fourth or fifth, and it's just such an enjoyment to come here and come alongside you and talk about great stuff that's happening in our communities.
No, I think that's terrific, and you brought in a couple of your colleagues here. We got Bridget Potterton. Am I pronouncing your name correctly, Bridget?
That is correct. Thank you so much for having us today.
And you're an advisory council member, correct?
Yes.
So tell me how long you've been involved with ARC.
Well, I got involved in 2020, and embarrassed to say that I really didn't even know that the Salvation Army had an ARC.
No embarrassment in the studio today, okay?
I knew Salvation Army did amazing things, but I had no idea how involved they were with this community.
Yeah, it's interesting. You bring up an interesting point where you say, well, I've seen Salvation Army all over the place, and then you're digging deep on what they do, and you go, are you kidding me? You've been doing these things this many? That is a tremendous thing. And Dave Robbins, you've been involved for a while. You're an advisory board vice chair, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And I've been involved with the Salvation Army since about 2012 when my daughter went through the program.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So you've got street cred on that. Well, actually, your daughter does as well. Talk about that experience as a father.
Oh, it's tough. And, it's just impossibly difficult. You tend to blame yourself for what your child's going through. And then finally, she reached a point where she was ready to make a change, and she did. And she went through the program and sober living, and she recently got her master's degree in marriage and family therapy counseling, and she's working and giving back to the community. She's involved with others who have addiction issues, and we have our daughter back, and that's. Bridget was saying earlier, that's the wonderful thing about the ARC is not so much that you necessarily cure people of their issues with drug addiction, but you give families their children back and their spouses back.
Yeah, before we get to, Aisha's got a question for you, Dave, and you certainly can add to it too, Bridget and Norm. But, you brought up something that is just so important. It's pretty much is a common refrain on our Spotlight show. We've been doing this now for 17 years. Yes, it's the person who's getting the help, whether it's drug addiction or alcohol addiction or fill in the blank. But look at the family that benefits from it once you get your daughter back. Yeah, I don't know how you even describe it, to be honest with you.
It's indescribable, and when I talk about it, I'm often moved to tears.
I'm moved to tears.
Just amazing, yeah. And to be helping others. And, the people that go through the program are changed. Yeah. They really are. I get involved in reentry. Right. With the beneficiaries when they're ready to go back into society, and we help them get jobs. And it's amazing to see what good people they are.
Well, it's always been in them. It just hadn't to be brought out over there. Isha, got a question for Dave?
Yeah, tell us, what's the mission of your organization?
So, the Salvation Army does a lot of different things. There's senior housing at discount rates. There's the community services through the Croc centers. And right now, in particular, there is activity going on in Maui where the Salvation Army is feeding thousands of people every day. So they're Johnny on the spot once there's a crisis. But what we do at the ARC is we bring in people for a free 6-month program that addresses their addictions and alcoholism. It provides structure in their life. They get work therapy, and they are a lot different than they were when they were out on the street or homeless. And so it makes it easier for them to get back into the community. And we provide help with jobs, but what we're focusing on now is trying to get them careers. So we're working with outside organizations that can provide training. Rise Up Industries is an organization we're trying to work with, and they're a local, wonderful group of people that do training to help guys and women become machinists. And they focus on people that have been in gangs. So great people. We're trying to engage with others like that can provide careers for our people so they can support their families and help them get back online.
And without question, we're chatting with our friends from the San Diego Salvation Army's Adult Rehabilitation Center, better known as ARC, joined by Dave Robbins, Advisory Board Vice Chair, his colleague Bridget Potterton, an Advisory Council member, and the inimitable Norman Mackenzie. He is a Community Engagement Coordinator. Norm, when I first met you, it was a tour. I came out to, if I'm not mistaken, out to the center. And man, blown away by what you folks are doing out there. But you went through the program, did you not?
Yes, I did, Drew. And it's been an amazing change since then.
It's interesting. And what I love about, obviously this is very touching and so forth. And one of the things that made Norm had such an impression on me, Dave and Bridget, that I wound up giving him half of my wardrobe. Now, I'm not sure if anyone wants to wear that, but when I've sort of shifted back to not having to wear a coat and tie at the Union Tribune, doing my own thing here, I had a whole bunch of suits and all that stuff. And I said, here, take this away so I don't have to wear these again. And hopefully they were put to good use, huh?
Yes, Drew, they were put to good use. And, you think about that concept. We can just picture this in our mind is like you donate one shirt and then you follow that shirt to where it goes from there back to our distribution center and then out to our stores, and then it's sold, and then it saves lives like mine. And I can tell you that in 2010, I was one of those guys that were downtown in community that was homeless that you would walk by and maybe not say hello to, maybe not even pay attention to. And today, I'm almost 13 years sober.
Well,
I have a new life. I have my family back and my dad back, who I've come alongside as part of the Lions Club and served in many ways with the Salvation Army. And it's just an amazing thing. And also, like I shared with you, I think last session, is I'm just about to get a bachelor's in communications. And so, you know what? I owe it all to the Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center, the offers that serve it within it, and the mission that it puts out there, which is serving people in His name, right? Serving humanity in His name without discrimination, to be able to help them, give them a new way of life, give them their families back, their granddaughter back, their mom back, their children back.
Well, listen, Drew Schlosberg is the benefit of that because I got a chance to meet with you. Bridget, talk about what you do, what your role is, and so forth.
Sure. So I'm actually a residential real estate broker in my day job. And so I'm on the property committee. And it's been an amazing experience to be involved in the Salvation Army. I always envisioned that I would have to wait till I had gray hair and I was retired to really make a big impact. And if the pandemic taught me anything at all, it was there is no time like the present to get involved and make a difference.
Right. Well, you're about 100 years from what you just described over there in that aspect of it. And you're right. And once you do this and you see the work you're doing and you see that you meet the Normans and of course, and Dave's daughter, and you see what it does to people and their families. I mean, how do you not get engaged with this? We're chatting again with our good friends from San Diego Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center, Dave Robbins, Advisory Board Vice Chair, joined by Bridget Potterton, Advisory Council Member, and Norm Mackenzie, Community Engagement Coordinator. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight of the Community Show. We are now in our 17th year in the nation's longest-running community podcast, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union in this wonderful studio here in Scripps Ranch. And Mission Fed's been doing great things for more than 60 years. I know, Isha, you have a question for the group.
Yeah, tell us more about your facility in Otay Mesa and how you're working to provide an alternative to incarceration.
Oh, that's an awesome question. So we have room for 120 men there in Otay Mesa. It's brand new, 2 years old maybe? I mean, you walk in there,
gorgeous.
it's a palace, yeah. The facilities are incredible, and they're right next to a big warehouse. So the men get fed, they sleep in the new facilities there, they worship there, and then they go to work every day, just 100 yards away in the facility, and they get training there, and they get the structure back in their life that they didn't have. They make their bed every morning. They have 3 square meals a day. Nobody's losing weight there. They're all doing well, and they're happy. I mean, you see these men, and you just feel a camaraderie with them, and they're great people. So it's a super facility. The one problem with it right now, I think, is we don't have enough men there. We are
Really?
close to full, but we aren't full. And
Interesting. Why is that, you think?
I think, part of it is there isn't enough knowledge in the community about it. The city and county are worried about providing alternatives to jail, and we are, I think, number one on the list. We have an alternative to jail for people in the community that need help. And, we often see, Norm gets heavily involved in this, when a lot of the guys have some... prison time hanging over their head when they finish the program. They may have been, put there as part of a court order in our program. And I've seen it more than a few times where they will hear from the judge, well, consider your time at the Salvation Army Rehab Center as time served. You have no more commitment to go to prison or jail. Wow. And they, break into tears.
As I should. When we come back from break, we're going to chat more about the center. I know she has some questions on, what certainly we can do as our listeners to support your efforts, Dave, and yours as well, Bridget, in that area. And, really want to hammer home what I love about, you always seem to say there's always room. You always have room for one. That's be a good moniker for you folks. And just hearing the stories of how it changes lives is terrific when we come right back from this very short commercial break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 17th year, chatting with our good friends from the Salvation Army San Diego Adult Rehabilitation Center, Dave Robbins, Advisory Board Vice Chair, joined by his colleagues, Bridget Potterton, Advisory Council Member, and Norman Mackenzie, Community Engagement Coordinator. I'm joined by my guest host, Isha Walia. She'll be an incoming junior at Northeastern University in Boston. And I think we've turned you into a podcaster. Isha, what do you think?
Oh, definitely.
Very, very good. Actually, probably come back on the show. You'll see her sitting in this seat over here, and I'll be finishing her coursework at Northeastern. And that won't happen because I guarantee you it's a lot different than college right now. Let me ask you this, and you can certainly jump in, and we'll start with you on this, Bridget. So people can donate almost anything to the Salvation Army, and you sell to thrift stores. Talk about that.
So we have some great stores throughout the entire county of San Diego, and we definitely love donations. We are constantly looking for new locations and to make sure that we're reaching out to the community. We love clothing, shoes, bags, household goods. There's so many different things that you can donate that a lot of people don't think about. For me, being in real estate, I've had several clients where they've had some really great household goods, and they say, "Gosh, what should I do with them?" I say, "I know where to send them." I know some people, and also I think our community has really focused on getting out there and partnering and making partnerships. Like, for example, earlier this year, I'm, as I mentioned, with a broker with Keller Williams, and we partnered with Keller Williams San Diego Metro for what we call our Red Day, where the entire company of Keller Williams, all 170,000 of us, take the day off and do something in the community. And so we put together a day where we brought out a truck. Norm had several guys there. We had several of them share their stories. It was powerful. We had people in tears. People were bringing all sorts of donations. The community was getting involved. It was fabulous. And I think the more that we share our story about why we do what we do, the more that we're going to have our beds filled that have, where we have our men and women where there's that need. And to continue the donations. So thank you for bringing that up, because it really is such an important part. We can't do what we do without them.
Yeah, it's interesting. Is there you talk about the men that are at the Ark, is there a women's facility?
There is. We have about capacity for 10, I think, maybe 8 to 10 currently, and we're planning to build a new facility for them within our existing facility in Otay Mesa. So we'd like to increase that significantly, but there are far more women interested in taking part in the program than we have space for right now.
Right, exactly. Are there other Salvation Army adult rehabilitation centers around the country doing the same thing you're doing?
Exactly. We have a Western territory that both Bridget and I serve on the advisory board for, in addition to the local one. And I think there's about 18 different ARCs throughout the Western United States, all the way out to Hawaii, and as far north as Alaska. And then, the whole country is blanketed with ARC programs. So there's a lot of people getting help from the Salvation Army in this way.
Well, there's no question about that, Isha.
Yeah, what would you say are the most significant challenges today for those that you serve?
I think recidivism is a big challenge. For us, the people that complete our program, I think we have a relatively low rate of recidivism, but it's always there. And so part of the process and training that we help our beneficiaries with is how to avoid falling off the wagon once you get back into society. And there's so many temptations. Drinking and drug use is pretty commonplace, and they will have opportunities to do that that they aren't expecting, and things happen. So we try to give them, the resilience to avoid that, and it's really important.
Well, and I imagine Bridget as well. Norman and I have chatted about this before, but the program that you offer, and it is a program. Once you get in on this, you're in there for X amount of time. Is it 6 months? Is that right? You're not leaving and going down to McDonald's or whatever. You are there, and of course, what turns out for the better on this aspect of it. But talk about what it does to someone's self-esteem, because they're accomplishing things. How important that is.
That is a great question. I think that there are a lot of things that can happen when you're going through a rehab program, and that sometimes there are programs that are much shorter, and there's just not enough time to really make a difference always. And I think the difference is when you have 6 months, you can do a lot in 6 months. As a person, you need to change your mindset, your faith, your beliefs. I mean, this is a faith-based program. Right. And also the difference of ours giving a lot of structure and helping them move forward. Dave had mentioned that one of the big focuses that he's had on our advisory council is what's the next step? Where do we go from here? So we help them through the 6 months. It's successful, but how do we ensure that they can get a job, that they can, get back with their family, or if need be, that they don't go back to that space? Because I think that's one of the biggest challenges is everything is, you're in this safe space, but then what happens afterwards? And that's been a real focus for us, is how do we ensure that we have success long-term and not just during that 6 months?
Well, you look at, certainly the folks that have got out of it are very successful. Norman being an example. There's many, your daughter as well, Dave, and so forth. Those are the ones that say, if you don't think this can change lives, here, you're talking to a person where the life has been changed. And I don't think you necessarily have to have somebody that's in that space not to be impacted by it. Isha, I'm sure when you hear Norm's story over there, how do you not sit there and feel some connectivity to that, which I think is so great about what you folks do. And it is 24/7. I'm again preaching the congregation here. It's got to be on top of this all the time in this area. Isha, I know you got a final question for the group.
Yeah, what can our listeners do to support you?
Well, there's a lot of things that they can do. Donations, either cash or bringing their household goods to our stores and donation centers. That's a huge help, and we appreciate all the help we get there. There's also the opportunity to shop online. We have a site called shopthesalvationarmy.com. You can bid for goods on there. Everything starts at $9.95, and where it goes, could be a Rolex watch. What is bid is what people wind up paying for it. So that's a good opportunity, and that's growing.
Yeah, I think it's terrific. Promise me, and Norm, maybe you can chat about this just for a couple seconds here, that you can bring somebody in like you who has benefited from the services and have them chat about their experiences. What do you think, Norm?
Oh, absolutely. There's plenty of folks we could bring down here and share their stories. And what I call them is God-only stories, because God meets them in the community or in the jail, where I go and meet them as well, and begins to change their life. So for the community to hear that story and how it impacts them and their families and that reunification, that's it right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, wishing you folks nothing but great success. We know we're going to have you back on again. We can't talk about these things enough. That seems to be, we've been saying this about every single group that I have.
Oh, yeah, every single one.
Every single one on this here. And that as well, we're talking again with the Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center. Dave, shout out a website where people can get engaged with you.
Yeah, so the San Diego ARC.salvationarmy.org is a great place to find out more about our adult rehab center, and they can connect directly with Norm through that website.
That sounds great. Well, Dave, Bridget, and Norm, thanks for coming in and sharing the stories. This won't be the last we'll hear from you on our Spotlight on the Community show, and appreciate the great work you do, changing many, many lives, and you've been doing it for many, many years too, and we'll look forward to your return appearance.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and your listeners.
You bet.
Thank you for helping us spread this message.
Yeah, it is absolutely our honor. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, continuing to do great things in San Diego for more than 60 years. We hope you enjoyed the show.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.